Keep blazing your fire, fire, fire. Blazing your fire, fire, fire. This is Jimmy Morgan, bigging up Aromatic Realistic TV. Real about ya here. Subscribe now. YouTube. Boom.
It hurt them. And it hurt Master Mark too. It funny.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I believe that the Minister of Finance, in terms of shut him out and let me talk.
Use unparliamentary language in the Honorable House. Might indicate that the member should shut his mouth. That's unparliamentary language to which he must withdraw. And so
who is he referring to as Mastermind in the Parliament?
That's it.
Who is he referring to as Mastermind? That is not parliamentary language either. This house is that two wrongs. Please, let me say that everybody who gets up to make a point of order and does so within the limits of the standing order, and I was just about to allow the member from St. Catherine Southwestern, but her behavior and her language, if you withdraw, hold a minute, if you withdraw that unparliamentary language, of course you'll be allowed, and I'm not going to renege from that. Please withdraw those words, because go ahead, Madam Speaker, the inconsistency in the House. Please allow me to hear what her point of order is. The member's point of order. That the point of order I was raising, Madam Speaker, is a fact. Have you withdrawn the behavior? If you do not withdraw, Madam Speaker, I am trying to follow your instructions. Yes, but I am not going back and forth. You cannot beat me over the head. You cannot beat me to submission by into how it is done. Hold a minute. I am not beating anybody's head in here. I am, and you stand by it. Your behavior is unparliamentary. Your behavior is unparliamentary.
It's not for debate. It is whether or not that member is going to be suspended or expelled, depending on the penalty that is called for by the House leader. And I think we need to go back to that, where we start our discipline in this House. And when the Speaker speaks, and I notice member getting up and standing when the Speaker is speaking.
Reality check, man, from a year device, you know, see Aromatic Realistic TV. Anyway, people, yesterday we see a thing take place in the House of Parliament. When Nigel Clark, Finance Minister, disrespect the opposition leader Mark Golding by calling Mark Golding massa. And if you don't familiar with that term massa, it's a slave master term. You know, people who enslave our foreparents. But Mark Golding born in Jamaica, you know. But Edward Seaga never born in Jamaica. I will repeat, Mark Golding, who is now the opposition leader of Jamaica, born in Jamaica. But Edward Seaga, who was Prime Minister for the Labour Party in Jamaica, he never born in Jamaica. You understand? Anyway, continue. Nigel Clark addressed the Parliament. And this is what he said. Madam Speaker, it hurt them. It hurt Massa Mark too. It burned him. Because what he's trying to say is that for the past 5 or 6 years, there is no new taxes. But don't pay that no mind. That's a lie. Look what happened to the taxi man them the other day. Look the amount of new tax what they applied to the taxi man them. seatbelt, this, that, headlamp, all kind of thing. Look, a tin mackerel, what you used to buy 3 years ago, look if it's the same price. The flour, your flour is not the same price. Your rice is not the same price. Our bread is not the same price. Your light bill is not the same price. Your water rate is not the same price. Your bus fare is not the same price. So when I hear them talks about no new tax, GCT are one of the wickedest tax out there on the people. So now listen to them. It don't make no sense. But I'm trying to tell my fellow Jamaican to put yourself in a place. When some people speak, you can understand. When some people speak, me already know. Because the thing about it, you will believe a one concept when they speak if you don't know. Because you only can believe what you don't know. And this is what they're using on the Jamaican people. Economics. They're going to the House of Parliament and make everything look like it's nice and rosy. But it's not. So it's for every youth out there. Seeing who have the knowledge there. To buckle down. And try to know some things. Because when you know, a fool can't fool you. You see what I mean? So that was it. So when he addressed the House and he says, Madam Speaker, it hurt them. It hurt Massa Mark too. It burned him. One would say then, the Speaker of the House should raise a point of order against Nigel Clark. Because one could fairly say that's unparliamentary language for you to style in the leader of the opposition as Massa, a slave master. The Speaker of the House, she did not do that. So this is when Angela Brownburg stand up and raise a point of order and saying, Madam Speaker, I believe that the Minister of Finance, and she could not get a chance to finish her statement. They all was down her throat. Right? So that is when she told them to shut them out. And it becomes the biggest thing. Now, if I raise a point of order, allow me so I can make my case. And then after you can raise a point of order and rebut what I've just said. No, they did not do that. They just the hammer down and the pound him and the whoever talk her and she can't get to make her point and so forth because that's how the labor rights are. They're arrogant. Right? Then go on like them Bullbuck and Duppy Conquer, they use brute force. But the young lady stand up and hold her grounds yesterday and said, listen me, I ain't having this. Who are you referring to, Nigel Clark, when you are saying Massa Mark? Who you talk to? I know my leader you talk to, sir. Right? So, it goes on. And Bartlett raised a point of order that the member has used unparliamentary language in the Honorable House by saying the member should shut his mouth. And now he's saying unparliamentary language to which she must withdraw. Now, which house Edmund Bartlett said an Honorable House? Because I know the house what the GLP then turn in a shit house. Me not think that the house of Edmund Bartlett they call Honorable House. But the Prime Minister of Jamaica carry Peanut Dread, you know. Did not check out Peanut Dread. Peanut Dread out there on video. They talk if woman no give him pussy, we bust them throat. And the only way a girl can not give him things unless in the same period. And why we do that. That's the man the Prime Minister using as advocate and take and carrying. The Honorable House, shit house. Because that's what happening to that house now. The GLP turn it into a shit house. You understand? So disrespecting Golden, a man who have credibility, a man who build company, a man who is a millionaire and having money. And when you check on Nigel Clark and the whole of them, the other crumbs them, they don't have nothing. They have never built nothing. So that's why they itch up in the government and they leech off of the government. They use the government, they enrich themselves. You understand what I'm talking about? So, let us continue. So, Philip Paul will stand up and raise a point of order. And he said, Madam Speaker, to be fair, the minister from St. Catherine South, she raised a point of order. And to all fairness, she need to be heard. The speaker replied by saying 2 wrongs can't make a right. The speaker also goes on and she said, let me say this to everybody who get up and make a point of order and does so within the limit of the standing order. She goes on and she said, I was just about to allow the member from St. Catherine Southwestern to speak. But her behavior and her language was terrible. And if you withdraw that unparliamentary language, of course, you will be allowed to speak, but only please to withdraw those words. Now, Jamaica, what Angela Brownburg need to withdraw? Them stand up in a parliament, you know, and this honorable man, you know, Mark Golding, you know. Because what they go on and what they take place, you know, the Jamaica Labour Party, they distract from the reality. Because nobody no really want to hear them. So when them go in a parliament, because them run out of ideas and run out of things what to say, because the people now find that they are not credible. Because you have a lot of source around now what they wise up the Jamaican people them. So that's their biggest problem right now. So it's all about distraction in the House of Parliament. Mark Golding them a millionaire, you know? Mark Golding them have their investment firm, them bank, and them thing there. But check the member of the Jamaica Labour Party. The man them not have nothing. Them not build nothing. In a government, them a stay and a build things and a milk and a leech and a rob from taxpayers, you know. I don't want to stand up in the House of Parliament and diss the honorable man, Mark Golding, who build company and employ Jamaican, have Jamaicans working for him. Who no want to build nothing what thief and robber what the leech and thief Jamaican taxpayers' money. Huh? Come on now, brother. So, it continue. So we see warming shit. Warming shit. One of the most disrespectful. One of the most disrespectful MPs. He is the first one that this Mark Golding. Telling Mark that he need to go back to Europe before he becomes a Prime Minister of Jamaica. He need to go back to Europe. And now Nigel Clark come and call him man Massa, slave master. But Mark Golding born in a Jamaica. Edward Seaga never born in a Jamaica. Edward Seaga was the Prime Minister for Jamaica back then. So for this piece of shit Warmington, they go stand up now in a parliament. We need to go back to those days where we instill discipline in the house. A house that man, who turn the parliament in a garbage house. Who turn the Labor right turn the parliament in a shit house. That is no honorable house. There is not one only in the GLP administration is honorable. A pay rob and thief, you know do. So where is honorable? What is honorable, brother? So far Nigel Clark to this honorable man, a man who having money like that, and the Speaker of the House did not have a problem with it. But as soon as Angela Brown Burke get up and speak, who no go and say it's unparliamentary language. It's not make no sense, man. Full of shit. Full of shit. Make no sense. Gonna run out of idea, man. But anyway, stay tuned to Aromatic Realistic TV. Like and share. Follow over YouTube. Jamaican people, live good. Walk good. God and good road. I'm out. Much love. Mad.